Yeah, I know of Mustang that came from here, and um, gal that adopted her was dealing with, teenage stuff. Her
Oh,
younger
yeah.
sister was having health issues, and her younger sister had passed away, and
Oh,
said that Shirley saved her life, kept her from taking her own life.
There are healers on this planet with the power to soften the suffering of mankind, yet they have remained in the recesses of the world, abused, discarded, and labeled as trash. This is The Touch of a Mustang. I am your host, Shalise Clough, and I'm here to tell the story of wild horses, Mustangs, and the humans who are discovering and sharing their gifts while working to protect their well-being and preserve their spirit so this divine power won't be lost. Join us on this quest with the Wild Mustang.
So my name's George Brauneis. I have been a lover of wild horses since before I could walk. I was one of Wild Horse Annie's kids, writing letters to Congress and the president back in 1971 to get the Wild Horse and Burro Act passed. So
it's awesome. Yeah.
yeah, so I'm one of, and here I am, 60 years old now. But I was one of Wild Horse Annie's kids, always will be,
Yeah.
and have a love for him. I got That's Toby behind me. He's 18
Uh,
year old. He was
oh,
gathered off
nice.
the Little Book Cliffs this past year and found his way
Just
good.
recently, then.
Yeah, it was, what was it, last September?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Well,
he's like, for 18-year-old horse, he's pretty much a cupcake.
yeah. Yeah, he looks like he's doing great.
Yeah. And everyone's shedding out, so you end up
Yeah.
with horsehair everywhere. But
Hair everywhere. Yeah.
so yeah, I've just been a lover of the wild horse since I was a kid, and um, I was riding horseback before I could even walk. I was a 2-year-old and I was up on a horse. So goes back that far. And um, as I've gotten older and just really have stepped up and really helped a lot of at risk and Mustangs and Burros that have found their wrong side of people who've had bad
Yeah.
experiences, neglect, abuse, what have you, people flipping horses and what have you, and had horses come in with halters growing into their faces, and
Mm,
you know just no reason to trust horses, and or no reason to trust people, and having to help
right.
work them through that. So um kind of a trainer, kind of a rescue, kind of a little mini sanctuary, kind of just a little bit of this and a little bit of that, helping the horses where I can. And I've
Right.
been um currently president of Friends of the Mustangs, which is the volunteer group that supports the Little Book Cliff horses out of Grand Junction. So I've been really active with them, and it's really a beautiful range and one of the better run ranges out there. So it's fun to share success stories and what works there, and hopefully that can propagate to other places. And I've been active with the state wild horse committee, and that as that has evolved, the state of Colorado has become a lot more active with the wild horse issues than they were in the past, and that's thanks to our current governor and first man.
Lots
Yeah.
of good work in the world of Mustangs.
There is, and then there's a lot that isn't. But the
Yeah.
kicker is just can't fixate on, want to share what's right, or at least is working in the right direction, and hoping that others will catch on and help improve things.
Well, let's go back a little bit in your story. So, you were one of the kids who helped pass the original act in Congress to put some protections in place for wild horses. Tell us a little bit about what you remember about that.
Um, I just remember I was in first grade at Sabin Elementary School in Denver, Colorado, and I just did a look, and Sabin Elementary School is still there, so that's kind of
Wow.
cool. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, it was, and this is way, way, way before social media and the internet and all that stuff.
Right.
So Um,
Almost a different world.
Definitely a different world, Thelma Johnson, known as Wild Horse Annie, she really leveraged some of I think it was in Ranger Rick or Weekly Reader. It was one of the magazines that came to all the schools and all of that, and was, getting word out there, and then there was just a huge push. It was just teachers across the country, was encouraging kids to write letters to Congress and to the president, and it was tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of letters, flooding Congress. I think there was more letters written for the Wild Horse Act than there were for any other, piece of legislation in the history of the country.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, and it passed unanimously. It was
Wow.
100% pass in House of Representatives, the Senate, and then President Nixon signed it.
That's neat, and I think it shows right there just the value of wild horses in our country and to our morale and to people who may not even have horses in their life, so that's really neat to hear about that. And then you went on and kinda got away from horses for a bit?
Well, I had horses up through high school. Um, wasn't a wild horse. I had a mammoth burro and a um, Palomino quarter horse.
Oh, yeah. Well, we love all horses, so
But back then, really wasn't aware. I don't think anyone was aware that you could really adopt a wild horse, and that was late '70s, early '80s.
yeah, probably when it was just barely starting, wasn't
It
it?
was starting, and would get up on the little book cliffs every once in a while to see the wild horses, but,
Oh,
um
neat.
so anyhow, I had horse and a mammoth burro through high school, and then I followed the, traditional path, go to college, get an education, get a job, yada follow the,
Yeah,
American
all the
dream and
things. Yeah.
all the things, and found myself in California working in aerospace engineering, and so, I'm almost a rocket scientist.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it sounded like you had a pretty successful career there with some exciting contributions.
Yeah, I did a lot of work, both civilian and military aerospace, and helped build parts for the C-17 and the B-2 bomber and the Global Hawk drone, which was one of the first drones, and a bunch of other aircraft, and got parts up on the space station and all of that. So that's kind of fun. But man, that's been 25 plus years ago now.
Yeah,
Amazing time flies. But after
it
September
is.
11th, I really wasn't too thrilled about living in Southern California. Basically, figured it was almost like ground zero, and I just wanted to get back to Colorado.
Mhm.
So in 2003, I moved back.
Alright, and did you have horses at all during that time, or was it not till
No,
you
not in
returned to Colorado?
California. Not in
Alright.
California.
So you
Yeah.
come back to Colorado, and what happened from no horses to taking in every horse that you can that needs a place, a soft
Yeah.
landing?
Well, it kinda took a while. I got involved with a couple of local horse rescues and helped out where I could, and learned a bit you know, learned some what needs to be done, and unfortunately learned a lot of things that shouldn't be done. But that's kind of the nature of the beast. But hi, Clover. So,
Got another visitor, another guest
yeah,
appearance.
yep, she's off of the Little Book Cliffs too. I just
Aw.
don't 100% trust her back end. So,
Oh, yeah. Well, you need to adjust, no worries, we can.
yeah. So, anyhow, I just got more involved, and then um bought this place. No, let's not. So, bought this place in 2016 and had operational for wild horses in 2017. And I've probably brought in about 140 to 150 Mustangs in those 9 years,
Wow,
and probably 25 or 30 burros and donkeys.
wow.
And so try and rehabilitate and rehome those that I can, and then those that are a little, you know, the older ones that are going to just retire here and couple of them that are semi-dangerous to stay here too. So, I want when a horse leaves here, I want them to be set up for success
Yeah.
and not be coming back or end up back in jeopardy somewhere else.
How did you start getting involved more in the advocacy with Mustangs and working more in that world versus just rescuing horses in general?
I think it part of it is I think it's just at 60, just start reaching some physical limitations. Um, Still can do a lot more than a lot of people, but it's kind of a time to transition. It's like I need to be at the point where instead of helping a handful of horses, maybe place 10 to 12 horses a year. No, 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 no. I know you probably
She's
want your
just
butt rub.
checking.
Yeah,
Just
I've got
checking
my
to see if you're distracted enough.
yeah, but, so kinda getting in that arena where it's like instead of helping, you know, 10 at a time, 12 at a time, or maybe making a difference, up to 100 or 200 as an individual that can make a bigger difference at the state level, helping thousands of horses, and then, I am applying for the National Wild Horse and Burro Advisory Board,
Yeah,
and, so working on that. Don't know if I'll make it or not, but at least apply and try, and it's a 3-year
absolutely.
position, and, have ideas to help. Um, it's kind of a damned if you do and damned if you don't position. It's like
Yeah, it is a tricky space. I run into that myself just talking about Mustangs that
yeah,
you can
you
kind of get on the bad sides of either side pretty easy.
yeah, it's, people love them or hate them, and then even in the pro Mustang camp, you end up with a big variant of those that believe in just leave them alone, don't do anything, no fertility control, no
Yeah,
gathers, no nothing, just leave them alone, but that ends up being a recipe for disaster, especially as drought-ridden as the West has been, and, I mean, this year is gonna be scary. I don't know what we're gonna do for water and food.
yeah, it has been a weird winter for sure.
Yeah. So, I kinda look for more balance. I'm not opposed to gathers, or roundups, depending on how you wanna call call them. I would much rather see smaller, manageable gathers than these roundups that are 500, 1,000, 2,000, 2,500 horses. It's like that's just, you know, that's not proper management. Proper management is when you can go in and maybe gather 15, 20, 25, or 30 off the range and get them adopted and do it again when it's needed. So that's
Yeah.
kind of the Colorado model that we're working on. We're getting there.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit more about Colorado and what they're doing well in the management area
Yeah,
and some of the things that have worked well that they've tried.
yeah. Well, for over 20 years, they've used fertility control on the Little Book Cliffs, and that's cut the gathers in half as far as it's gone like roughly every 8 years instead of every 4 years.
Yeah, that's
So
significant.
that's a plus, and it's kept the herds manageable where you're pulling off maybe 50 to 100. And now we're looking at we'll just set up bait trapping and pull 15 or 20 horses off at a time
Yeah.
and get them adopted out, and looking more at getting the horses trained, at least halter trained, so that people are getting a horse that's already started, and then they
Yeah.
can decide what discipline they want to pursue when they're ready to
Yeah.
saddle the horse.
I certainly make think that makes a huge difference and something that I don't know, it seems like that's going away more than growing. I know the prison programs, a lot of those are ending. Tip training was a big thing for a while. That ended.
Now you have Forever Branded,
Yeah.
which is kinda taking the place of the tip training.
Yeah.
They're just kinda getting started out, but there's and then we're doing foster training for some of the Little Book Cliff and Sand Wash Basin horses. We've got a adoption the end of the month. I think it's the Friday and Saturday, 27th, 28th in Grand Junction, and there'll
Okay.
be, I think, 2 dozen horses there that are halter trained and trailer load and lift their feet for the farrier and stand for the vet and all of that stuff, so
You said that's a foster program?
yeah, it's a foster train where the trainers foster the horse for
Oh, okay.
3 to 5 months, and then they come to an adoption event, and then
Yeah.
there's bidding on the horses.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't heard about that one. That does sound good.
Yeah, so that's kind of a step in the right direction too. I think the more horses we can get at least started, halter trained,
Mhm.
the better chance they're gonna have to succeed in domesticated life.
Yeah, for sure. I think the reality is that horses that can contribute something to the human world are the ones that are gonna be valued in the end between a horse you can't touch and one that you can ride and potentially lead into something that people are wanting to do, definitely are going to be taken care of in different ways, unfortunately.
Yeah, so it's the economy has for the past gosh, well, for quite a while has had an effect on people's abilities of being able to have their own horse, and if you live in a city, that's not even an option, so you're looking at just those that are living in rural America or, have access to a barn where they can board a horse. So,
Yeah. Yeah, the facilities are not easy. They're
yeah,
a
and a
little
lot of
more
facilities.
costly, a little harder to come by.
Yep, and a lot of them they won't even take in an unhandled Mustang. The horse has gotta at least be halter trained.
Yeah. Yeah, so that could really make a huge difference just in that who has access to be able to take a Mustang into their care.
Yeah, so that's the other kinda driving force behind Forever Branded and the foster trainer programs that are popping up, and hopefully some more of the prison programs. I know Northern Nevada's keeping their program.
Yeah.
Hutchinson, Kansas has renewed theirs, but we
Did
lost.
they?
Yeah, I know we lost, Canyon City, and
Yeah.
that was just too big of a gap money-wise.
Was it?
Because yep, minimum wage for prisoners went up, and the cost of hay went
Mm,
up, and all the other costs, and then the BLM took a 25% cut in their budget, so it just wasn't gonna work out, unfortunately.
yeah, it is unfortunate. Looking at a national level, and I know we're kinda getting into maybe some of the more controversial topics when it comes to Mustangs, but I think if we are caring for horses, if we do care for these horses and for their welfare, it's something that we need to be able to talk about and look at solutions and consider things in the range of what is actually possible. Because obviously, I think a lot of us would love Mustangs to always be taken care of, but we have to work within the limits of government and legislation and resources, all those things. So, what are some of the things that maybe are being done well? And what are some things that could be done better?
Right, yeah, yeah, and at a national level, it's just hard, 'cause, I've heard people over and over say you can't start your way to appropriate management level or a manageable level, and it's proven time and time again, you can't round up or gather to
Yeah, I mean,
maintain that
it's
level
a
either.
process
It's
that's
just,
growing bigger and still continuing. It hasn't
it's just,
solved itself still. Or
yeah, it's
solved
just
it
a s
using what we're trying still. Yeah, very
yeah, it's
cyclical.
just cyclical, and it's just, when you're pulling 20,000 plus horses off the range and you might get 7,000 adopted. I mean, that's just 1 in 3. So, and then they're looking at long-term pastures in the Midwest, and, there's expenses involved there, and, gosh, you just look what happened in Nebraska. I mean, half of Nebraska just went up in flames, and it's
Yeah.
just, the environment climate is changing. We could argue all day how much of it is caused by the sun and how much is caused by humans and how much isn't. And, holy cow, that's just but the issue is the West is getting warmer. Um, Snows are getting less. So we're looking at an issue not just for the wild horses, but every critter that's out there that's sharing those range lands
Mhm.
is, looking at, we're like 15 years into this drought and we've only really had 2 good snow years.
Hmm.
So it's, um, unless you've been out here living in the West, somebody from Kentucky or Tennessee or back east where they'll get more rain in a week than we get in a year.
Yeah.
Just have no understanding of drought at all.
Yeah.
And drought isn't, tornado, hurricane, fires, whatever. Those are like immediate issues that, you know, dominate the news because it's just, like a airplane crash versus a car crash. Airplane
Yeah.
crash makes the news, but car crashes are killing more people every year than airplane crashes do.
Yeah.
Yet it doesn't make the news. It's
Right.
kind of the same with drought. I mean, drought is having a much deeper effect on multiple states, but it isn't sexy. And it isn't, it's just a
It's not
slow
exciting, it's kind of a
it's not
slow
exciting.
burn.
It
Yeah.
it doesn't really make the news, but the reality is, there's just not enough, moisture to for grasses and everything else to, support the
Here she
land.
comes again.
Yeah. So anyhow, it's so that I mean, we have to address the drought. And it's not just the wild horses, it's everything that's out there on the range. And it's affecting the farmers and ranchers too, because, I'll use 2020 as an example, of COVID year. Everyone's freaking out about COVID. I'm worried about where am I getting hay from because we ran out of hay in Western Colorado. I was importing hay from Canada.
Man.
And, I'm probably looking at that again this year that
Yeah.
hay's going to be coming from I don't know where, but we'll probably be okay first cutting. And then after that, who knows?
Yeah.
So, that's just a big effect on everyone that lives out here in the West. So how do we manage the drought? Um, but then how do we gather the horses more humanely? We can do more
Mhm.
bait traps and less helicopter drives.
Yeah.
How can we more effectively dart for fertility control? Especially like in some places, the horses will see you from 2, 3 miles away, and they're not
Yeah.
gonna let you get close. And
Yeah.
that's where the BLM, Colorado BLM, is working with a outfit out of Texas. It's basically a feeding station, but so the horses come in and I mean, it's almost like just a big round bale feeder, except
Mhm.
there's like 4 ways to enter it. So the horse comes in with
Yeah.
their head and their neck, and one side has the dart for fertility control. The other side has, they inject a, um, microchip in just like a dog or a cat gets at the vet. So that,
Mhm.
the chip reader. So then once the horse is microchipped, the feeder will know whether the horse you know, needs darted for fertility control or needs a booster. And this is something they will come in and there's no humans around and there's really nothing scary. They just get used to, oh, we got free food here.
Yeah. Food
Oh,
is a great motivator.
yeah. So it's I think places like most of Nevada where the horses see you coming from miles away and you can't even the odds of darting with a traditional, dart rifle are slim to none. This gives an option and an
Mhm.
opportunity. So I'm hoping that that comes through in the next handful of years.
Yeah.
We're looking at 3 in Colorado to be distributed. Um, One in the Little Book Cliffs, one in Piance East Douglas, and one in San Wash Basin.
Okay.
We're hoping to get those going this year.
And are those looking to be pretty cost effective compared to other options?
They're about 40,000 a piece,
Mhm.
and that's just a round number. Um, and you basically lease the device. I think that's 40,000 for 3 years. You
Okay.
lease it for 3 years, and the company maintains it and does everything. All
Mhm.
the BLM or the volunteers would do is make sure that the microchips and the, um, fertility control is stocked in
Mhm.
each of them. And I still haven't quite figured out how the machine's gonna know the difference between a mare and a stallion. So,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So something a little more in the works maybe, but certainly some possibilities that
yeah,
might come about in the future.
yeah. So it's gonna be a work in progress, but I'm like, "Wow, this could be huge moving
Yeah.
forward."
Yeah. To be able to integrate technology in that way could really help cost-wise, which, is part of the equation, as well as, yeah, accessibility, like you say, and just keeping the herds more manageable.
And so that's one big thing I'm kinda hoping, and there really is no silver bullet. There is no one single solution. It takes, you know, whole
Yeah.
lot of different things and maybe put it all together and you come close.
Yeah. I agree that it's gonna take help from a lot of different angles to do the most that we can for the Mustangs. And I think it can be a little frustrating in the Mustang world because sometimes different camps are put at odds, sanctuary versus private owners and things like that. I think the reality is like to help the most horses possible, to have a good, healthy life, and to even positively impact people, it is going to take a lot of different avenues leading into that and helping them. And I think every single one of them is needed and can be beneficial to the horses.
Yeah, and I think one other thing the BLM could do better, and I know it's a cost thing, but gotta get these horses east of the Mississippi available for adoption. When they do adoptions back east, wherever it is, they might bring in 40 or 50 horses, and there'll be 100 horse trailers out in the parking lot, so that
Really?
they're turning people away. There are
Mm-hmm.
people that wanna adopt, and they aren't able to get enough horses out there.
Wow.
So and I played with the math. The United States has roughly 3,200 counties, or what's considered a county,
Mm-hmm.
and if you took 3,200 and divided that by the number of horses, um, pulled off the range each year,
Mm-hmm.
and if you take the 10 and older that typically just go to the long-term pastures, you're talking each county's probably would be looking at 6 to 10 horses per county, and there would be no horses in short-term holding. They would all have a home, and whether that be go to, um, equine facilitated therapy, training, whatever, local search and rescue, fire department, sheriff's department, you know, whatever. I mean, I think it would be doable. It's just a matter of how do you get those relationships built at each
Yeah.
county level.
Yeah. And I've seen some of the same when you're looking at numbers. If more people were interested in a life with Mustangs, there are a lot of people out there who are wanting to have a life with horses and looking for horses, and there is probably a gap between, I want a horse, but I don't know what to do with a horse that just came off the range. So I think that there is a gap that can potentially be filled with different programs and different resources.
Yeah, and I think I think the more horses you can start to the point where they're you know, halter trained, the more, chance they have moving into a domesticated life and, staying with that family.
Yeah,
Although I saw a
absolutely.
stat somewhere and that wasn't even Mustangs, it was horse and the average horse ends up with like 7 or 8 owners in their lifetime.
Wow.
Well, that's like, dang, and you figure horse lives 25, 30 years. That's like a new human every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think there's something to be said for if you're a home that can make a commitment to these horses, like that's huge for a horse to be able to have a stable home like that. And then, even with horses in general, it seems like there's another gap where people are maybe wanting horses and don't know how to find a horse that will be good for them. So, can definitely be some tricky roadblocks to overcome that could really maybe lead to potential benefits for, horses and humans for both.
Yeah, because the Mustang is an amazing, they look like any other horse,
Yeah.
but I mean, underneath biologically they may be the same, but a horse that's, had hundreds of years of life on the range and that genetics and stuff, they're hardy, they're smart, they're sure-footed, they've a lot of pluses
Yeah.
once you get them, trained up.
Yeah, I agree. When did you first become involved with like Mustangs specifically?
Specifically would have been 2015 when I attempted a extreme Mustang makeover in Fort Collins,
Okay. Yeah. How'd that
and
go?
then, didn't even make it. I, tore my ACL
Oh,
walking
geez.
across not even horse related, I was just walking across a hayfield and
Yeah.
just twisted the wrong way and pop,
Yeah.
there it went,
Oh,
so
man.
but Tejote's still here, that was the horse I got as a 5-year-old, and now she's,
Oh,
holy cow, 18 now?
wow.
Alright, 5 no, 2015, 20 no, 15. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was basically she was the catalyst, and after that, hundreds have come.
And so tell us a little bit more about the place that you have there, and some more about what you do specifically in your little piece of the world.
Right? So, I call it the Eagles and Wild Horses Ranch because we got eagles flying overhead and got the wild horses here on the ranch and some burros.
Yeah. That's
Um,
beautiful.
kind of played on an old John Denver song called Eagles and Horses. Beautiful
Yeah.
song,
Yeah.
beautiful song.
I grew up listening to John Denver. That was my mom's go-to. So,
Right on. Yep, but Eagles and Horses is just a beautiful song. Um, so, like, at the moment, I've got when Canyon City shut down, I ended up taking in 6 horses, 2
okay.
as
Mhm.
fosters and 4 as project horses,
Mhm.
and I've got these 2, Toby and Clover, they're going to Green Bay, Wisconsin, and
Oh,
those
neat.
people actually have 3 other Little Bit Cliff horses. So
Aw.
they're going halfway across the country, but they're gonna have they're gonna be with other Little Bit Cliff horses.
Yeah, nice little herd.
Yep, and I've got one guy's going up to the Wild Horse Sanctuary outside of Craig on Friday. Not he's not buying anything I'm selling. He's been
Yeah.
here since June, and it's like he's 16 or 17, and just so anyhow, he's got a spot there, so he gets to go out on 35,000 acres and just be a wild horse for the
Hey,
rest
that's a
of his
good
life.
deal. Yeah.
Yep, and then I've got a couple others that are going to the Front Range, probably in April or May. So, of the 6 I took in when Canyon City was trying to find homes for all these horses, I'll end up
Mhm.
with 1. So, got the other 5 placed. I got some senior horses that'll just live their life out here that are between 26 and 31,
Mm,
and they'll
yeah.
they'll just finish off their life here.
Yeah.
Um, I've got 2 or 3 that they'd be dangerous in the wrong hands, and they're
Mhm.
just so anyhow, they're kinda sanctuary here. They're not from Colorado, so they wanna qualify for the Wild Horse Sanctuary in Craig because that's Colorado only horses. So, anyhow, they can stay here. They they've got 5 acres to roam and fed
Yeah.
well, watered, and
They look content out there.
yeah. I was hoping more of them would come in, they normally do.
Yeah.
Latest batch of of hay I got had a little more alfalfa than normal.
Oh, yeah, they're
And
liking it
so it's
then.
like, yeah, they're like every scrap.
Yeah.
Like, you usually don't
Lick
wanna
in the
feed a
ground.
whole don't wanna feed a whole lot of alfalfa to a Mustang,
Yeah,
but so I'll do, like, maybe a 80-20 or an 80-30 mix over the winter.
yeah,
You know, extra calories, a little extra energy is good,
yeah.
but it's getting to the point now that until first cutting comes, it's kind of feeding what I can get, and I'm good up until June, and then we'll see.
It's gotta be
I
a
got
little stressful, I don't know, I only have to find hay for 4. That is enough of, like, "Alright, we're getting low, where's it coming from?"
Yep. I would recommend buy all you can from first cutting because who knows how good of a second cutting we're gonna have.
But tell us a little bit more about what how you've come to work with Mustangs when they come to you.
So I usually it's kinda good to a point if you have a backstory on the horse, but
Mhm.
then I've also found a lot of people obsess on the backstory and you pity the
Yeah.
horse, and, I don't believe I've always been a believer that, um, words carry power. They call it spelling for a reason because 'cause you're casting a spell with what you say. Um, so I really don't wanna pity the horse or feel sorry for the horse because I just feel you end up with a sorry horse or a pitiful horse. It's just kinda acknowledge what they've gone through and say, "Yeah, man, you've gone through a lot." I've had horses that have had to have halters cut off of them because 'cause they're grown into
Yeah.
the and that's ugly, or you have horses that have been abused and or neglected, and a hungry horse, even if they're well fed and all that, they still end up being a little more um, protective of their food,
Mhm.
so you kinda gotta take that into account, but I really like to just kinda start them back at 0 and see where they'll go and just get them to the point where they're comfortable in their own skin again, where they're not, you know, hyperreactive or PTSD or what have you, so and then those that can be trained up, train them up and find them a home, and those that aren't gonna be able to be trained up, either they can stay here or I find them a sanctuary.
And I know you said you're kinda switching, but have you been doing training all through saddle
I
training?
I just do through halter training.
Okay. Mhm.
"Let's move that booty of yours, thank you." Like
Well,
every
these
other
2
horse.
definitely like hanging out with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any Mustangs that have left a, significant impact had a significant impact in your life?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Tahoe is probably the big one. I mean, built this whole ranch for her.
Yeah.
Basically, she helped me through. My mom had passed away at 90 from a stroke, and that was a year before I got Tahoe. But then Tahoe helped me through the last year. My dad passed away in 2016. So the last year, she was kind of my rock, and my lot of tears went into that mane.
Yeah, they're good at catching tears, that's for sure.
Yeah, and she's just I wish she'd come in, but again, that hay is just too yummy.
Oh, alfalfa's a hard one to compete with.
Yeah, call it crunch berries for horses,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I mean, Tahoe really carries that. I had another one that was an old soul in a young body. His name was Zeus, and he was like 5 years old, but had, lifetimes where he was an old soul in a young body, and
Yeah.
came out one morning. I mean, he was he was 16 one hands and just big bone, muscled up, and probably at least 1,200 pounds. A lot of draft influence in him, and came out one morning and he had just passed away in the night.
Oh,
So that was a hard one, and
yeah,
that
that
that's
is
the
hard.
hardest. I mean, I've got horses. I've got a couple of my senior horses, and I'm like, "Wow, you're still alive! Oh, you're still alive!"
Yeah.
And they just keep going and going, and they look a little rough, but they're still sassy and happy, and
Yeah,
got
not ready
crystal clear
yet.
eyes, but not ready yet. And as long as they can kind of hold their own and they're happy, and loving life. It's like, yeah. So some of the seniors are really kind of got a soft spot in my heart, and they all do. I mean, each one of them's got their own little story and their
Yeah.
successes and all of that. So
Yeah. That's incredible how many you're able to care for and to care for well, because that is no small task, that is for sure.
no, and it's I'm definitely my ideal. I want to downsize to about 16 is,
Yeah.
and that's a combination of horses that are boarded here and horses that are here for training, and then my own private six pack of horses.
Yeah. Even 16 is a lot, I feel like.
Yeah,
I'm
man. When
always
I was up,
tempted and I'm like, I don't know if I should do one more. But
yeah, 4 or 5 is a good number. It's
yeah.
pretty manageable, and at least you can take two wherever you're going, and you got the other one stay behind, and at least they got a buddy.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. Talk a little bit about horses that are traumatized, and maybe even if you have advice for other people when you get these horses that come in that have had these really bad experiences with humans. What are some of the things that you found to be effective to help them regain that trust?
Yeah, that's almost like a case by case. More than anything, you've got to they've got to look at you as not a threat, but you as being safe. So a lot of tricks might be, a horse has picked its head up and is looking at, maybe a neighbor's dog is walking across and, they're thinking it's a wolf or a coyote or whatever and they're threatening. And then so you stand between that horse and the perceived threat. So you're kind of like, okay, well, I got you. I got you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, and that gradually gains trust. They'll end up gradually trusting you. It's the hand that feeds them. Um, I found can be a challenge with horse feed.
Mm-hmm.
Mustangs that have never had feed are kind of like, well, what is this?
Yeah. No,
Um,
that's totally true. My first Mustang would not eat a carrot. We're like, what?
yeah,
Some
yeah, carrots, apples, but usually they find, or you might just have to go with, you know, just a little alfalfa flake or something,
yeah.
whatever. And it's just like, I really don't use treats or feed for training, but I can use it for building trust
Yeah,
and for
connection.
breaking ice and building that connection.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got Socks over there is well, now he's 4, but when he came here, he would just jump out of his own skin at anything.
Mm-hmm.
Another horse would sneeze and he'd jump out of his skin. Anything, he was just like he was just not comfortable in his own
Scared of
skin.
life.
Scared of life, scared of everything, and he was either gonna hurt himself or hurt someone in his way, just it's just fear. Not a
Yeah.
not a mean horse at all, just fearful, very, very, very
Mm-hmm.
fearful. And started there with just one day he realizes like, "Oh, you'll give me a little alfalfa? That's wonderful." And then he did one day he discovered my senior feed, and oh my god, in like 2 days, he just did a complete 180,
Oh yeah.
and now he eats out of my hand, and I can touch his face a little bit, and I'm hoping within another month, he'll be trusting enough that I'll be able to halter him
Yeah.
and start training with him, but
Yeah.
man, it a lot of it just takes time.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you get the one like Clover who is pretty trustworthy, but you just never know when she might just kind of decide that now's a good time to kick.
She trusts
So,
you, but she's still
yeah,
earning that trust the other way, huh?
yeah. And so she's actually, it's surprising, she's really, of 100 plus Mustangs that I've worked with, she's really the first kicker I've really had to deal with.
Really?
Most Mustangs, they'll just tuck their tail and move away.
Yeah.
And she loves her butt scratches, but I won't scratch her butt unless I'm on the other side of the panels.
Yeah. Yeah. No, safety is very important. That cannot
Yeah,
be
yeah.
understated. If someone wants to get involved, help Mustangs, what are some of the best ways you think people can do that? from people who don't have them to those who
right?
are maybe ready to take one into their home?
Yeah, a lot depends on where they're at. If you are near any of the herd management areas, find out if there's a local, boots on the ground club that's, out there doing work. Like Friends of the Mustangs are on the range every month doing some sort of work. We reseeded like 2,500 acres just this past month, and we cut out a lot of old barbed wire that is no longer necessary and trying to make
Yeah.
the range safer. We maintain um, aquifers and watering holes and what have you, so that benefits the horses and all the critters that are up there.
Hmm.
That's probably the most rewarding way to get involved is if you're near, within driving distance of one of the ranges to find out if there's a local boots on the ground club, and the BLM that's managing that range would be able to point you in that direction. Um, get involved with, I'd say, support Forever Branded and their attempts at getting these horses trained and finding good homes for them is another one. I like to know where the money's going, so a lot of some of the national stuff, I just am like, I don't know exactly where that donate now button, where's that gonna
Yeah.
go? So it's like
Yeah. And I,
the local range groups, the money's gonna go to range improvements and
yeah.
benefiting the horses on that range. Forever Branded's gonna help their program. Those would be probably my 2 recommendations, and a lot of it is, get your information from multiple sources because one group may be telling you one thing, another group will be telling you the totally opposite, and it's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, they can't both be true."
Yeah. And it's a very multifaceted topic. There's a lot of different information coming from different places, a lot of different places the horses are. So, yeah, there's definitely, it's a complex issue for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not sure that was the best answer, but that's kind of
Yeah.
just the
No, that's
way I
great. And
see it.
yeah, and I think with donations, wherever you donate, try and be involved with that organization because I think that's true of any organization. Make sure you know the work that they're doing. We would love to all trust everybody and hope that the money's going to the place where we think it's best, but really a lot of just personal involvement can go a long way also.
Yeah. Now I know the Colorado Wild Horse Refuge is you can sponsor a horse for $30 a month,
Oh,
and
cool.
they'll send you photo updates of the horse on the range and all of that.
What can people do to support you? How can they find you?
You can find me on Facebook. I have I'll send you the link.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. We'll include all those in the description.
I have a small, it's KOFI coffee. So people want to just, I'm a believer of a little bit can go a long ways.
Mhm.
Um, I have I have 2 large sponsors that are, I mean, my God, I would not be able to run this place without it. I think
Mhm.
everyone needs to have that 1 or 2 angels that
Yeah.
can help you out financially. But, it's like, can you remember what you had for lunch yesterday? Did you go out, or did you go out for coffee? Did you go out for lunch? Do you even remember what you spent your, $5 on a coffee or $15 on a lunch? And most people are like, I don't even remember what I had for lunch yesterday. It's like 5 or $15 just a monthly um, donation to the ranch. I've got about $300 a month through that, and that covers my senior feed. So
Nice. Yeah.
that's and it's money you're really not going to miss. So I'm not going here donate 100 a month or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody wanted to, I'm not going to say no,
Yeah.
but it's like you're going to find $3 of loose change on the seats of your couch or whatever, the floorboards of
Yeah.
your car or
Yeah.
whatever. So and all adds up. It helps make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. It does help keep those horses safe and fed and cared for. It's
Yeah.
it's an expensive little project to have in your life, but they offer a lot of good in the world for sure.
They do, and I do offer, you know, I'm friends with a wildlife photographer, and she comes up here and she uses my herd for teaching horse photography. We'll
Cool.
we'll do a day here at the ranch, and then the next day we'll go up on the Little Book Cliffs, and
Nice. Yeah,
um,
that sounds awesome.
got a couple other clinics that I hold here that aren't really on the training, more of just the being and understanding and
Yeah.
taking in and appreciating the wild horse.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And that also is both important and can be really beneficial just for people to have a chance to spend time in the presence of a Mustang can be a really cool experience.
yeah, and it can be life changing. That's just they are a unique, you know, they're more than just a horse.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
Clover.
She's keeping you on her toes, on your toes.
Yes. She's my fire horse. You're the fire horse.
Yeah.
What she
Yeah.
is. And she's
Yeah.
got
There you
fire.
go.
Yep, she's a sorrel, but
Yeah.
she's a sweet horse. Just gotta get her through that. Yeah, you don't need to kick anybody.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It can certainly be a process to get them to a really good place to live a life with people.
So
Well, good.
cool.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
thank
I
you so
sure
much for
appreciate
being
it.
here.
And yeah,
Yeah.
I guess one question for you. What drew you into doing these podcasts and where you're at with your wild horses?
Yeah. Well, I have a whole story. I have 3 Mustangs. Um, 2 that I got from Canyon City. One was halter trained, one was saddle trained, and then one we got from the online auction. But yeah, the first one I got from Canyon City, she kind of came into my life right when I needed a little bit of guidance and help, and she seemed to be the one that gave it to me out of all the other resources I had. I'd go out with her and she would just give me clarity I needed for the stuff going on in my life. So, yeah, I'll forever be grateful for her because she really, I think, helped me change my life for the better and see the places where I could go. And I learned a ton. She was the one that was halter broke. So I saddle trained her and learned a
Mhm.
ton through that process and the time it
Nice.
took and realizing that I knew pretty much nothing about horses from what I thought that I knew and just getting to learn about her and see her. So yeah, she's the thing that pulled me in and helped me see like these horses are really helping people. They're making a difference if you give them some time and if you are interested in building a relationship with them, not just having something that you can ride and use whenever you need it. That yeah, they can add a lot to your life. So heard lots and lots of stories since then. I kind of thought I was a little crazy thinking like, man, she was just putting my life to save me sometimes I feel like, but I
Yeah,
found that a lot of people have experienced the same thing.
yeah, life changing. They really can be life changing.
Yeah, they definitely were for me. So, yep, I just love sharing about them and want more people to know about them and their potential and their value and hopefully build more programs and places where they can be safe and valued and help people too because there's just incredible stories about the things they've done to help people who have really been in immense pain and trauma
Yeah,
and some even struggling to stay alive and then they get with a Mustang and it changes everything for them. So
yeah, yeah. I know of Mustang that came from here, and um, gal that adopted her was dealing with teenage stuff. Her
oh
younger
yeah.
sister was having health issues, and her younger sister had passed away, and
Oh
said that Shirley saved her life, kept her from taking her own life,
yeah.
and has enriched her life, and her grades have gone up in school, and I mean just across the board, and now she's got a boyfriend, and still a boyfriend that understands horses, and
Good.
oh,
Yeah.
it's like amazing that you know when the horses, there's a horse that saved a life.
Yeah. Yeah, which is pretty incredible, and it's hard to see that they're not valued in that way when you think so many people are struggling so much, and there's so many horses that are just languishing and holding crowds or being shipped across the border. And to just know, like, oh, if we could just make that connection, lives would
Yeah.
be changed on
Yeah.
both sides. And so, yeah, that's definitely something that motivates me to keep sharing about them. And
Yeah. At-risk children, veterans, first
yeah,
responders, just
hmm
average Joes and average Janes,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Anyone living in life that's a little
Yeah.
bit open, no horse, if you spend time. And it's been really cool to see how it's changing a bit, I think, because a lot of times horses are only valued if they can ride and perform. And I think we're
Mhm.
really starting to see like there's some value in the peace and the clarity that they can bring into the human world that we're having a hard time finding anywhere else, and really getting weighed down with our technological world and
Yeah.
just all the things that people are dealing with in their lives.
They're an amazing critter, and I mean, their heart and I mean, just being near them
hmm
calms you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've heard just incredible stories about what they've done for people. So, yeah, I hope to keep sharing those, and hopefully more and more of those will happen so that people can really see the value that they bring to our world, and why, yeah, let's do what we can for them to protect them and keep them safe and give them good lives, whether that looks like a sanctuary or a private home or equine therapy organization, lots of different places where they can help.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, they are pretty awesome, and thank you for the work that you're doing just to
Yeah.
care for them and to keep being a voice for them, amongst all the difficult variables that come into play. I think everybody who has a voice that really wants to just make life better for them and keep them as part of our world. I've heard incredible stories where it's just a photograph of a wild horse that has really impacted someone. Thank you for the work that you're doing and keeping them safe and sharing with with people about them. So
Yeah. Awesome. Well,
awesome.
I sure appreciate the work you're doing.
Thank you for joining us and learning about horses that heal and the humans who help them. We hope you'll continue with us on this journey. We'd love for you to subscribe on your favorite platform and follow The Touch of a Mustang on any of the major social media outlets. Please share with your friends, anyone who loves horses, or anyone who might be struggling and could benefit from this message. If you have felt the healing power of horses or help them in their divinely appointed mission, please reach out. We want to hear your story. As we say goodbye, always remember that the horse is always there to help you heal.